Well, I grew up in a little village of about 1,200 people. I think it's grown significantly since then, probably 1,300 people now, called Chippewa, which is just outside Niagara Falls. And it was, it was pretty rural, and then right behind the little subdivision that I lived in were just, 20 miles of bush. And I spent all my free time out there. I was either inside the house drawing and painting, or I was out in the woods collecting and just observing and just being, and I think that fed a lot into Avatar. And also just, I really went to school on indigenous culture around the world. It was all theoretical. It was all sort of book learning, but I tried to find the common themes between different indigenous cultures in terms of, language and ceremony and leadership, how they do things. The upper layer, it's an adventure, and it's an emotional journey for this family. I think thematically, at a kind of a second level, it continues with that idea that, I don't want to simplify it to humans are bad and everything they do relative to the natural world is bad. But I do think what Avatar films, including this one, allow you to do is inhabit nature and look back at human civilization as nature sees us, as basically destructive. Right? Now, I wanted to temper that by having good human characters that are actually fighting on behalf of nature and the Na'vi, and also have negative Na'vi characters. So it's not a simple kind of racial divide based on skin color. It's basically a collision of two value systems. Wade Davis, who has written extensively on this, Canadian writer, has written a lot about how we can benefit from the wisdom keepers of the First Nations people, and listen to them and profit from their sense of time and responsibility across generations to keep the land safe and and to stay connected. And you see that it's just part of the culture of all the First Nation people, the West Coast and the Prairie. The Prairie Nations, and I've gotten to know some of those people, and of course they don't exist just to teach us what to do better. They exist for themselves, and they're struggling obviously with a lot of issues, and some of the leadership are very good at integrating with provincial and federal government, and some of them are really struggling. You can't make an Avatar movie without sort of plunging into that world. I found that out. Starting way back with All in the Family, there was this sense that television and movies and media were moving us in the right direction, that we were evolving a little bit as a species, that we were breaking down prejudice and all that. And I was pretty hopeful about that. Last couple of years, not so hopeful. Well, you can see what's happening in the world, right? You can see what's happening in the U.S. Everything's getting repealed, electric vehicles. The EPA, is denying that fossil fuels and carbon emissions have anything to do with climate change. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like the fox is watching the hen house down there. So yeah, look, it's harder to be optimistic now than it has been previously. But you keep pounding away at it, and people keep responding. This is the thing. I think that the Trump administration doesn't understand that we will not ever be the 51st state, that, we'll fight to the last man up here, in the last six-pack.